Hello humans, welcome back to another video, and I finally got a not Steam Deck. So this is an Ayaneo 2, and this is kind of insane, the deal I got it on, because it is new, it has 32 gigs of RAM, and 2 terabytes of storage. It was 450 bucks. It's 500 with shipping, and the other ones was like 700, and it's new, like new sealed, but it's like a 3-year-old computer. So the battery's so flat on this, and the shipping was so expensive because it was expedited shipping from South Korea. So it got here in only 4 days. Wow. And also the retro power, if you're ever thinking of getting one of these, the retro power skin of this is the one that automatically has 32 gigs of RAM. And that's the main reason I got it, because I will not have to worry about RAM limitations with this device. Speaking of that, even in lighter games like American Truck Simulator, it still uses 18 gigs of combined RAM because it has to use a bunch of VRAM for the integrated graphics, and since they're integrated, it also uses the system RAM directly. So I don't know if the game would perform worse with only 16 gigs of RAM, because sometimes with BeamNG it's like that, where it doesn't, but that's something to take into account. This box is taking forever to open. I'm not going to jump cut this. Editor, which is me, don't jump cut this, because I really want to show how long it takes to get out. This is so vacuum sealed. Oh god, that smells like factory. The chemicals. The manual. It has 3 USB-C ports, by the way, which is kind of crazy. I don't know what RC does. God, this smells like chemicals. Wow. Oh no, it's in Korean. Is there English?
Yes.
They love accordions. This is the, like, metal guitar pick. I might want that in the future. It's weird. They wanted to do a screwless design for this. That's why this has replacement pouches, I guess, to reseal it. I really don't like that, but I'm never going to open this because of how much crap it already has in it. But I don't like that because you're not going to be able to open it easily at all. And you're going to have to get new covers if you want to keep doing that. And also, I am aware that if anyone watched the Bring Us video on this freaking overheats a lot because it's made of glass on the top for some reason. But I will peel off the screen protector. I thought it was on because it said the Ayaneo thing, but no, it's obviously not. This has to have a flat battery. This is made of metal?
No.
I think this is aluminum. No. There's a fingerprint scanner in the power button. This is just like proper console size. Yeah. This isn't that heavy, to be honest. It's like 1.5 pounds, but I don't mind that too bad. Is there more in this box than just this? Yes. Oh god. This is the most chemical smell I've ever experienced out of this. And also, they restocked this on the eBay page, and it's now like 700 bucks, so yeah, I got lucky. Oh, they include 2 USB-C to A dongle things. I'm assuming this is the charger cable. By the way, this package is so premium because this was like $1,000 a couple years ago. Definitely not worth how much it was back then because of what it was in there. Give me a 4080, like a 4060, and this is fine. USB-C to C, okay. This looks like a 100-watt Mac charger. Oh, it's only a single USB-C. On the Ayaneo 2S, it had a bunch of ports on the top, but this one isn't. So how much is this? I have no idea how many watts it is. Okay, to disassemble the device. So there's no chance in hell this has any battery left, but because it's like 3 years old, but I have to try it. Okay, it's dead. I'm gonna try to charge it right now, because I've heard that it cries about it if you don't use its proprietary charger. So yeah, I've actually had tons of problems charging this thing for the first little while, because all I had was a 45-watt charger to charge it with, because I couldn't use the Ayaneo's charger, because even though it's 65 watts, it's a EU plug, and they included adapters for it, but the adapters were only for South Korea. It's 2-prong, but it doesn't have the holes in it. It just reeks of 3D printed. How do you use this anyway? Well, I'm not potentially starting a house fire, so I'm just going to use its NOT cable. Gonna get a Chromebook charger, hopefully it works. Headphone jack on the bottom, that's good. Oh, and it immediately is like, hey, you're charging me. It's like it has a fan in it. This is gonna be awful, because it's made of glass. For some reason, the whole front panel is made of glass, so you need like a protector in case. So bad. RGB. Oh god. Fingerprints are already getting in. It's been 2 seconds. Where do I put everything? I guess I can use these adapters, like, now. I'm going to need a mouse and keyboard, because it has Windows 11. Okay, I like how the SD card slot is. It's just a gear that opens. So, like, my question is, why is it in portrait? That's weird. I guess I don't need this external display, then. I was just being way too impatient. Shut up, Cortana. Yes. I don't think the controls work, like, right now. What? This is Windows 11. I can just say I don't have internet? What the hell? Okay, it at least knows this is really heavy. There's no gyro, so... This is so clunky. I want to see if the fingerprint gives me aggro. Why would I want a pin? I don't want a pin. Fine. You get the worst pin possible. Horror! I'm so gonna install Windows 10 on this later. And hopefully, I want to know if Bluetooth actually works. Is this the time that it takes a few minutes to set up? Oh, it's off. I think I restarted. Okay, so it's been a few months since I've actually bought this thing. So to actually turn it on, you need to press the fingerprint scanner twice for some reason. And no, the fingerprint scanner does not give you aggro. It's actually pretty reliable. So I use this kind of like a tablet most of the time and just like watch TV on it. It works pretty well since the headphone jack, and I just put it up on my speaker, and it's a lot better than a phone because it's like chunky, and this screen, like, really good. One of the praises I can do for this is the screen is 1920 by 1200, and it's a IPS with 100% color accuracy. Whenever I use this, I just have like a bunch of praises for how it looks, and what I've noticed with what I've been getting recently is the best thing you want if you're trying to get cheap monitors or whatever is you need a IPS panel with 100% color accuracy. Yes, you might want an OLED, but what you notice over an OLED over an IPS is just the deep blacks. That's it. Like, the color accuracy is going to be the same. And this software kind of sucks. Like, it's bugged out so many times on me. Like, once every 2 weeks, it just doesn't work. So, one of the things getting something like this from a company that's, you know, startup or whatever, is its software, even though it updates a lot, breaks a lot. But like this TDP limit thing is really nice. Like when I have it at like 11 watts or 5 watts or whatever, it lasts a long time. And you can go all the way up to 35 watts. So like sometimes the PS3 emulator works. Most of the time, like I have a problem with Gran Turismo 6 specifically. Like once you're further into the game, it stutters so much. It's really bad. But with lighter PS3 games, I know you can emulate this properly because it was getting more than 30 FPS with Gran Turismo 6 on the earlier levels, but I can't honestly recommend this thing if you're trying to play like the best PS3 games. It will be very laggy. Now, a lot of the time on this, if I could close it, I play American Truck Simulator, and with that, I only need to be like 20 watts for it to get the whole thing out. And the 32 gigs of RAM is actually useful because you see it's already using 10, then 1.7, which is obviously less than 16. But in Cyberpunk and stuff, with the VRAM and RAM combined, it uses more than 16 gigs of RAM. So I'm going to show you the frame rate here. And I'm like screwed because my diff lock is off and I'm sliding down. Oh god, I'm sliding down really fast. My truck is broken, man. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this, but so this is at high settings at 1200p, and it's running like 50 FPS. I think I had it at medium. It did perfect 60, so depending on what you want to do, you can play this game perfectly fine. And like the frame rates in this game, very consistent, so I wouldn't worry about that. Obviously, Geometry Dash works great, and BeamNG works decently well. It's a much heavier game though, so you're gonna get like 30 frames per second if you want any decent looking anything. Obviously, Overkill runs really well. These are 680M graphics, so it's like more like a 1650. Like Cyberpunk, weirdly enough, I don't know if I have it on the Steamdeck settings or what, but it runs pretty much the exact same as American Truck Simulator at high settings. So it's perfectly playable. Like, I haven't had any issues with it. Maxed out with all the watts. It lasts longer than my laptop, which this is like an hour and a half, but 10,000 milliamp hour cell in it, and you're pulling like 35, 40 watts. So unless you're doing that, it's going to last more than what you'd usually expect. Like, if you're playing Cyberpunk on a handheld, do not expect good battery life at all unless you're actively hooked up to a power bank of some sort. And, like, I was able to complete the game through this. I like the Hall Effects joysticks. They're just really responsive. And the buttons, completely fine. I've never used the L4 and R4 buttons on the side, but you can... I don't know how to hotkey those, but I should probably do that so I can turn on diff lock for my truck. I'll probably do a benchmark for this later, but you know, it's only at like 35 FPS right now. But, like, this looks perfectly fine and goes to, like, 40-something later. It's using 7 gigs of VRAM and 14 gigs of RAM, so, like, I don't know how much of an issue would be, but, like, you couldn't really play this with only 16 gigs of RAM. So, graphics, custom, so I have AMD Super Resolution on, but I have a mix of high and medium settings, which is a decent amount better than whatever the Steam Deck would be giving you. And this game was super optimistic because it turned on ray tracing when I first played the game, which technically it can do that, but like, why would you want ray tracing on a handheld? And also, like, obviously Ultra Kill is going to work very well, and like the game layout thing's actually decently reliable. Sometimes it tries to do game inputs and like normal inputs at the same time, but you have to switch it between desktop layout and not desktop layout. I don't play Ultra Kill on this device because it's like kind of a pain, but like obviously you're going to be running this pretty fast, and I don't remember how to ground pound. A good test for this would be able to see if I can run Doom the Dark Ages on it, because oops, that's definitely a harder game. Obviously, this is going to run at 60. Then, like, I go on BeamNG Drive just to show you that, yeah, it does run pretty well. And with, like, my laptop, somehow BeamNG got corrupted to hell. Like, my saves folder doesn't work anymore, and it doesn't, and, like, when I reinstall it, it doesn't even fix it. So I can't play BeamNG on that device anymore. That would probably get, like, 100 and whatever FPS on this, but, like, this is fine also. Since it's an NVMe SSD, it just loaded real quick. So let's just do East Coast. I think I should have traffic enabled. I'm not sure. Oh god, I have the Gambler 500 weird. Yeah, so traffic, it's not going to be smooth by any means, but it's actually going to be, which is important. And also something I have to point out, it touts that it has like dual speakers and whatever. They are quite bad. So that's why I use a Bluetooth speaker with it, because it just as quiet as whatever my old laptop was, and like it peaks when you're at 100% volume. So I do not know why they cheap out so much with the speakers, but everything else is fine. I've heard people complain about like the faceplate gets way too hot, but honestly, I haven't had a problem with it. Like this area right here, I haven't had a problem with it. I haven't had any experiences where it's almost burned me or anything like that. Okay, so once it loads in the game a little bit more, it's gonna run a bit better. It's running at 30 FPS, so it's kind of sluggish, but it's doing it at like higher than medium settings, I'm pretty sure. So I honestly, with something like this, it shouldn't be frozen like that. With something like this, I honestly just prefer the slightly better visual fidelity. Yeah, it's going at normal settings, like exact normal settings, so that's why it doesn't run too good, but it's actually doing it. And like Doom 2016 runs really freaking well on this. I honestly think with how Doom 2016 is optimized, it'll probably run pretty much the same as Doom Eternal, because it doesn't really get 60 FPS, but I'm pretty sure I have it. Oh, never mind. So in this corridor, which is super small, it's running at 60 or more. So like with this game, a lot of the time it's just super smooth. And also another thing I have a slight problem with is like this screen is only 60 FPS, but I don't really care too bad because of what deal I got this on, because I could have probably gotten an ROG Ally for the same price, but it would have had like way less storage, and the main problem I had with the ROG Ally is not enough RAM. And why I buy random stuff like this is kind of just to avoid the RAM apocalypse. Yeah, it's at high, just all out, and it's fine. So like, this isn't that powerful, but that means the Cinebench score is like 15,000 or 16,000, I don't remember. Also, I wanted to test Speedometer, which is a web browsing based benchmark that, well, benchmarks how well your thing can do in a web browser. And it got a 22, which I don't know if it's good or bad. This is going to be something that's going to be in my benchmarking stack in the future, because I've seen a bunch of YouTubers use it for like the MacBook Neo, and it's probably going to be very useful just to directly compare things. This is like a very fast machine for what it is, and like decently well put together. I don't like that it's glass on the front. It's just a bit sketchy. And like when the software works properly, it's really nice, but it's very, very finicky. So again, this is a kind of device where you'd only be okay with it if you're actively finicking a lot. But otherwise, like, don't get it. The main reason I wanted a console is just to play games on it, obviously, but you see why I still have this normal Windows UI. I don't like that I can only do like one thing on the console. So I've never used my PS4s or whatever, just because like that kind of ecosystem, but with something like this, I actually use it enough for it to be worth it, which is nice. Then another thing I have to point out is both the top and the bottom USB-C port are USB 4, so that's 40 gigabits per second, and that means you can plug in a GPU, but the performance is pretty limited because it is PCIe 3x4. So like the super beefy GPUs, you're only getting like half the performance or a third of the performance, if I remember right. It's super weird. What I've noticed with this thing is, yes, it is quite heavy, but I don't really have that many issues with it, because it's the exact same weight as a Steam Deck. So you aren't going to be wanting to haul this around for like 4 hours straight. That should be about it for this video. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell if you want to see another video like this. And tell me in the comments like what other tech stuff should I comment on, like I can do a PC build guide or whatever, and or like how to get cheap good laptop, stuff like that. So tell me what you want, because I don't really know what I want to do right now. Bye.